All right, so for whatever reason, people are afraid to show what their actual lead generation process looks like for their company or for their clients. So I'm just going to show you what ours looks like, and you can copy it if you want to. So for those of you that don't know, when you look at the different ways to get leads, these are your only options. You got warm outreach, cold outreach, organic content, paid ads, referrals, and affiliates. But I'm going to cover, because this is what we do at the stage of our business, is we do cold outreach, organic, paid ads, and referrals. So I'm going to break down each of these, and where you guys are also making mistakes. So for cold email, what we do is we take our industries that we target, which is CPAs and tax strategists, law firms, e-commerce companies, home service companies, med spas and medical offices, and info products. What we do is we segment them into different campaigns because not all these people need to see the same message. They have different pain points. They talk differently. There's different industry standards. There's different best practices. So what you guys do is you try to structure your cold outreach and you send one message to all of these different companies, all these different industries. That is a really big mistake because you're going to miss out on conversions. So our recommendation is build out a campaign for each industry you're reaching out to. Now for some of you only reach out to one industry or one person. So that's awesome. We run a marketing company. We work with multiple people. So these are the top 6 that we look to work with. Now, if we go over to cold calling, what we do for this is we use AI. We actually just launched this instead of using humans because humans are a pain in the butt when it comes to cold calling, and people are just weak-minded these days. So what we do is we build an AI cold caller, and that is trained on how our company works. So it will dial for us, it will have conversations, and it will book appointments. So the way that works is when someone gets booked through, we get a Slack notification, and then we also get a notification in Notion, which tags them in our CRM. Completely hands off. I don't have to do anything. In addition to that, I also get notes on the call, so I can go through and I can see what the call looked like. I can see the conversation was had. I can see if there was objections. I can see the entire call notes in Google Sheets. In addition to that, I can also get pinged if somebody's an urgent lead. So if someone's hyper qualified, I can get pinged in my Slack and it will tell me exactly what took place. And the way that we set that is if they make a certain amount of money per month, or if the company's a certain magnitude, you set whatever you want. But for me, I get pinged if that happens, so I can see, okay, this person's hot. I'm gonna message them immediately. I'm gonna try it on the phone. I might even have the AI transfer them to me if they're ready to do so. So that is our AI cold calling process. What we do is we segment again into industries. So for this, you'll see that we don't call info products, and we also do not call e-commerce companies. It's a little harder to touch. We call more local companies, so home service, med spa, CPA, law firms. That's who we're calling. Now, one more little sauce bit for you guys is if you're using something like Retail AI to do your cold calling or Vabby, you can buy a phone number in Twilio, and you can basically set it to where you're calling. If you're calling in multiple states, it will use a local area code, so people will pick the phone up right off the high pickup rate. Versus if you have one phone number, people aren't going to pick up because if I'm calling from Utah with an 801 and I'm calling in Arizona, people aren't going to pick that up. They're just likely to have a local area code. So keep that in mind. And what happens is this goes through a trained script. So our AI is fully trained, prompted, it knows exactly the information to pull from. And what will happen is it's either like I just said, it's going to tag urgent, call booked, or did not qualify, and we're going to get notified for all that in Slack. And then when the list is completed, so let's say we're doing 100 dials per day, we're going to get notified in Slack that the list has been completed and calls are done for the day. So that is our cold calling process. Now for content, this is what we currently run, and this is expanding. So the industries that we're targeting are the same industries that I showed before, and then the way that I approach this is a little bit different than what most people may do, and this is something I'm constantly testing. So what I try to do is I try to do really niche content now to people that are looking for our services. In addition to that, I try to also go wide. Shout out to Caleb Wilson for this. So in some of my videos, you might see me talking about like working for a billionaire or billionaires are client. I'm doing that to pull in more people because that's going to apply a lot more people when you're making content like this, and it's also going to increase the amount of people that will then look at my page, and then they're going to be interested in the marketing stuff, and they're going to have questions, and I can nurture them, and that ends up getting people to become a lead if they're qualified. So that's how I somewhat structure it. No matter what I'm doing, my whole goal is just how do I add as much value as possible, and how do I give tangible things for people to do. So just content overview, that's how I structure the content. And then the way that I have it set out right now is TikTok is the primary driver and tester. So I'll make a TikTok video and I'll repost it on Instagram as well in most cases. And then we also have a company Instagram, which I didn't put here, but we have a company Instagram we just launched, and that also drives leads. And then YouTube we're launching as well. So the way that all this works is that TikTok and Instagram ideally will funnel back into YouTube because we want people to watch long form content because that nurtures people way better than watching short form. On average, it takes 7 hours for a lead to take an action. So that's book a call, fill out an application, or take whatever action is you and your company, maybe purchasing a product. On average, it takes 7 hours for someone to consume your content and then go do that. So ideally, if I can just post episodes before I have a 4.5 hour video on YouTube, and people can just go watch that. That basically does all the work for me. They're showing up ready to buy. So this is the goal moving forward, and also do a lot more documentation showing behind the scenes of building the brand, so on and so forth. So the goal is to get short form to lead into long form, and ideally have people follow on all 3. So what happens, let's say for TikTok, is people send me a DM or they click the link in my bio, which they can then apply to work with us. That will lead to a call. If it's YouTube, they're going to then follow on IG if they came from YouTube, or they're going to maybe even look at TikTok potentially, or they're going to click the link in my bio, or they're going to look at the CTA in the video, or whatever the case might be, based on what they're watching, and that will lead to them booking a call, or getting a lead magnet, or getting on a newsletter. And then from Instagram, they might get a lead magnet, so I make something that would say, DM me the word for whatever, I'll give away something for free. This is what we're about to start testing, and then I will then be able to own that traffic because that will be our newsletter, and then I can essentially at that point send them all the information I want you to nurture them, and ideally get them to take action, or if they just want to get free value, they can get free value, right? If somebody doesn't want to be one of our clients, that's totally fine. I just care that writing value, whatever it is that you do. And then in addition to that, I'll be DMs, and then people also click the link in my bio, which will all eventually lead to a book call. So that is how we structure our content. Now when it comes to paid ads, same thing in terms of who we're targeting, so same industries. And then what we'll do is we'll run meta ads specifically for what we do. That will lead to either a DM or somebody filling out a direct application. That will then, if they're qualified, book a call, get onto a call, ideally close. And then for referrals, I see so many people screw this up, and they're honestly just afraid to ask for referrals. And I get it because I was there too, but you just have to do it the right way, right? So our referral program is very simple. As soon as we get a client result, we're trying to get a testimonial, and we're trying to get them to refer our work to somebody else. But the thing is, you can't do that if you don't get client results and you don't operate with morals, you're not authentic, you're not transparent with the person you're working with. So if you're doing shit work and then asking for them to do something for you, that's bad business practice. Don't do that. But if you are getting clients results, once that happens, I believe it's very fair to ask them if we've done a great job, could you help us out, right? And I'm gonna give you an example message you can send. So the way we do this is as soon as we get a result, we're gonna send a Slack message or a text message, either works, you can do both. And this is a sample message. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but if you want to pause this somewhere you can. It's a very authentic way of sending this message. It's like, hey, if we've done a great job, and only if we've done a great job, would you mind, maybe sending our services to someone that you know in your network, or somebody you think could benefit from this. Also, show that a plate sitting right there, that's wild. So that's the message you're gonna send. Now, the way that we structure our referral program is we give 30% of onboarding to the referee. So we give 30% of onboarding. So if we're doing a $10,000 marketing takeover as an example, which would mean that we're doing everything for the client, everything from building their funnel, building out their CRM, running their ads, so on and so forth, we would pay out $3,000 to the person that referred them. And then moving forward, they get 5% of that 10,000, which is $500 a month. So that is the way that we structure it. And they get that monthly retainer, the 5% of that monthly retainer for the client's lifetime. That's what ZLT stands for. So if you guys are wondering, how do I build out a lead gen system? What does that look like? What you want to do is you want to pick from these, whether you're brand new or you're someone that's established. Let's say you're doing $50K a month. I recommend that you build something like this out so that you know where the heck your leads are coming from. In addition to having a CRM, you can show this to your team. So again, you have warm outreach, which is typically where you're going to start. Cold outreach, organic content, paid ads, referrals, affiliates. Now, the other thing I would tell you is you don't want to be a one-legged stool. So a lot of you, as an example, are relying only, and I've been here as well, you're relying only on referrals. So you don't have these other acquisition channels built out. So you're one-legged stool. If you're not getting referrals, you're not getting business. You don't know when they're coming, you don't know how they're coming, and it's the best lead you can get, don't get me wrong, but you don't just want to solely rely on that, otherwise you got a dead business. So that's why it's really important to build out multiple acquisition channels. So figure out where you're at now, and also whether you have one of these things running or all 4. In this case, I count these 2 as bonuses, so that's technically 6, but I count these 2 as bonuses. These are really your core 4, the way Rose explains it. Whether you have 1 or all 4, map them out, right? Make it clear, make it tangible, know how the leads, or what the lead process looks like, the lead journey, and you'll get a ton of clarity from this. Hope that helps. Deuces. Drop a comment down below if you have any questions, or if you just found this helpful. And if this was value added for you, make sure to share with a friend. Thanks so much. Bye.